Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Parking Lot Preview. Happy Sunday, July 7th. I'm Matt Coates. To my right, my co-host Mike Maynard. To my left, a first-time guest, Payton Kelly. Payton, are you excited to be on the Parking Lot Preview?
So excited. Thank you for the invite, Matt and Mike.
Awesome. Glad to have you on today, guys. Barnstable rivalry. Hyannis Harborhawks with a 10-7-1 record, hosting the Cotuit Kettleers 11-7. Cotuit sitting at second in the Western Division, with the Harborhawks right behind at third. Mike, we've seen them once so far this season. Talk about that matchup.
Yeah, ended with a win for the Cotuit Kettleers. So Hyannis looking for redemption tonight. It was June 21st, the last matchup. We were at Lowell Park in Cotuit, lost in an 8-inning affair due to weather concerns, which, if you were here last night or saw the game, another weather concerning game last night. Supposed to play a game here, though, on June 30th against Cotuit. That game, also, Mother Nature didn't want to happen. That one got rained out just about closer to game time, 5:15-ish, postponing that game until July 11th. So now we're going to face Cotuit today, and in a few days from now, should be good. Barnstable matchup, and these two teams don't necessarily like each other very much, but that's part of it. It's baseball. Rivalries are what we love to see. Should be a great game tonight. Cotuit comes off a win in their last matchup against Hyannis, but overall, these teams battle well against each other. It doesn't really say anything, and should be an interesting one here tonight.
Mike, you mentioned it. That rain out on June 30th. Because of that rain out, rescheduled that game to July 11th, which means we're going to see Cotuit twice in 5 days. Already down 0-1 in the season series. That makes tonight's matchup and then July 11th matchup extremely important against a Western Division rival. With that being said, though, let's flash back to last night. You mentioned it. Peyton, you were at that game last night. Traveled over to Eldridge Park to take on the Orleans Firebirds. What did you see in that game?
It was pretty good. The weather did mess it up pretty bad. People were slipping off the mound. Stone Cushing, there was a little bit of mud. He couldn't get traction on his cleats. There was a couple slips in the outfield, but still recovered and made catches. We would have liked to see him finish it out.
You mentioned it. Yeah, tough game there. Lost 3-1 in a shortened game over in Orleans. From the moment we got there, very overcast, very dark for only 6 p.m., and then the mist came in right around first pitch, and it only worsened as the game went on. So unfortunately, we lost that game by a score of 3-1 towards the end of the game. Mason White with the only RBI for the Harborhawks in that game. 103-mile-per-hour exit below on a homer to right field. Shorter porch over there, only 315 to the corner, but he got all of that, 103 miles per hour. It was a tough game, Mike, because we were going against Colin Fang. He went 6 innings, 7 Ks, only allowed 4 hits, lowered his KPRA to 1.69. We talked about him yesterday. Fantastic pitcher, won 2024 Ivy League Pitcher of the Year. He's come to Cape and has done nothing but dominate. So just a tough game overall, Mike.
Just a tough game overall. We talked to Coach Carricker after the game. He really just said it was overall just one that they wanted to move on from. Obviously, with the weather conditions, you weren't able to play the game that you were hoping to play. Tough to see balls. We talked to Mason White after the game. He couldn't really see seams on balls, couldn't tell what was a slider, what was a fastball. It was a danger. It was a concern for safety, player safety. And so just unfortunate that we couldn't get the full game in. We've seen these Harborhawks come back late in games, only down 2 runs in the 7th there. Not able to get the opportunity to see if that comeback was a real thing. But overall, again, just a game that they want to move past and just hopefully, move on to tonight and take home a win.
Certainly that's what we're going to do. We're going to move on, flush that loss. It was against an Eastern Division team. At the end of the day, it doesn't weigh as much as a game tonight does against the Cotuit Kettleers as we're jockeying for position here in the Western Division. That being said, let's flash back. Look at Cotuit last night. They had a big win yesterday, Mike. 8-7 victory at home against the Bourne Braves in a game that got shut down after the top of the 6th inning. Bit of an interesting game. Cotuit got off to a 5-1 lead after the 3rd inning. And then in the top of the 4th, Bourne put up a 6 spot. Made Cotuit have to come back, but they were equal to the task, came right on back. Offense was on point, able to get that victory in a shortened affair. Lucky for you fans tonight, knock on wood. 6 p.m. start time, lights in McKeon Park. Hopefully we'll see a full 9, as both teams that played yesterday didn't get that in. But so yeah, Mike, hopefully we just get to see a full 9 innings, and hopefully we get back on the right track against these Cotuit Kettleers.
Yeah, it looks like the weather shouldn't be too much of a problem today. A lot of clouds in the sky, but it shouldn't be a problem. But it's a testament, both of these teams not finishing their games last night in a full 9 innings. It's a testament to how important it is to get off to an early start. See, Cotuit got off to an early start last night, come away with a win. Hyannis doesn't get off to that early start last night, comes away with a loss. So it's huge for these teams to have good pitching to start the game from their starting pitchers, but then also get the bats going as early as possible to hopefully put some runs on the board in case the game gets called early.
You mentioned it. Going to need our starters to go out and do well. Peyton, tell us who's starting on the mound for Hyannis today.
Jason Reitz. He is very tall.
You said it. 6'9", right-handed pitcher out of St. Mary's College this past season. Very recently, though, announced his commitment to play for the Oregon Ducks in next season. So first of all, congratulations to Jason and your family. Hopefully you go do great for Oregon next year. Let's look at his stats, though. 48 innings pitched, 6 flat ERA, 65 strikeouts, and 28 walks. Interestingly enough, though, Mike, if you look at this, he made one start for the YD Red Sox earlier this summer. Fortunately, he was released. Then he just made the short drive over to Hyannis because we picked him up, brought him to our roster. If you look at the stats on Cape so far, with one start in YD, plus one relief appearance for us, he's gone 5 innings, 3.6 ERA, 5 strikeouts, and 5 walks, all of which came in that one start for the YD Red Sox. Potentially what they saw that led them to release him. But luckily, we saw something redeeming in him. We picked him up, brought him over here. Did great for us so far. No walk in his last appearance. Hopefully, he's going to work on command, something I assume is going to be a big focal point tonight, especially knowing that Mitch Carriger always talks about that with his pitching staff. Get ahead in the count. You get that first strike, you're in the driver's seat, something I'm sure Reach will be focusing on today.
We've seen a lot of success with pitchers coming from other teams, even players just coming from other teams. Blake Cavill stands out as a guy that was playing with Falmouth, came over here, started to have success immediately. We've also seen success with tall pitchers. Joseph Juro was our ace starting the season. He ends up moving on, but now we're bringing another guy, Jason Reitz, a giant guy, 6'9", coming in and using his frame to really get a good velo on the ball and hopefully pitch a good game. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in his first start in the blue and orange. But if any indicator is what he's been doing so far in the Cape, he seems to be a pretty solid option. And Mitch Carricker obviously trusts him here tonight against a big rival. So it should be interesting to see what kind of start he gets off to. We mentioned it before. It's going to be a key to have him have success early on to hopefully put up some runs on the offensive side, but have him keep some runs off the side on the defensive side of the ball.
Certainly, we're going to look for him to shut down this Cotuit offense. Peyton, you're a softball player yourself, so you're very familiar with bat and ball sports, so to speak. What do you think the Hyannis Harbor Hawks pitching staff has done successfully so far this season?
I think they get ahead in counts well. We have a little too many walks, but I think we do that well. I think our outfield's very strong. We talked earlier in the season, Parker Brocious getting hurt, but I think we're on the come up.
Perfect. I completely agree. Yeah, as long as you limit those walks and trust your defense, something Hyannis pitchers have done so far this season, you can be very successful. That being said, Mike, let's look over on the other side of the bump. Talk to me about Joey Volcho.
Joey Volchko, 6'4", right-handed pitcher out of Stanford, another tall guy. We got Battle of the Giants tonight. 42 2/3 innings pitched at school this spring, a 5.7 ERA, 53 strikeouts, 38 walks. One game out of the bullpen for Cotuit this year. No starts so far. He went 2 1/3, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a 1 ERA, giving him a 3.86 ERA on Cape to this point. So the guy doesn't have a lot of experience, hasn't got a start under his belt so far on Cape. It'll be interesting to see what he's able to do in that new environment. Obviously, playing in Hyannis, a lot of these guys haven't got that experience yet because they're getting their first game here so far this season. So Cotuit should be a little bit nervous, hopefully. Maybe some jitters, maybe some nerves. But Joey Volchko has that experience at school, goes to Stanford. He's a smart guy, tall guy, should have a good game. But hopefully the bats can get to him early, and hopefully he can give up some runs tonight. That would be great. That would be ideal for this one.
Completely agree, Mike. And when you look at Joey, look at his numbers. It goes right back to what Peyton was talking about with our pitching staff. This guy's no stranger to the walk. At Stanford, 38 walks over 42 innings pitched. 3 walks and 2 1/3 inning pitched on Cape. There's going to be a very interesting dynamic when you look at a guy who doesn't necessarily command the zone as well as I'm sure he'd like to. Because Hyannis Harbor Hawks lineup that loves to take the free base. Expect Kane Kepley to be batting leadoff as he has in almost every game so far this season. And expect him to work a count early against Joey. I think he's going to read the scouting report, see that Volchko has walked some guys on Cape and over at Stanford, and he's going to be like, hey, he's going to give me the base. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to attack him. Try to steal a bag or two, try to maybe create a run as something the Harbor Hawks have done all season long.
100%, can't agree more.
With that being said, Mike, Peyton, time for the fan favorite segment, my favorite segment. It's going to be the player of the game. Peyton, you're our guest. Why don't you go ahead and give us your player of the game prediction?
I think it's going to be Josh Tate. He's a newbie. We just met him yesterday, basically 2 days ago when we interviewed him. He's an outfielder from Georgia.
Southern.
Georgia Southern, yes, but he lives in Georgia.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be him.
Good pick. I talked to Tate also 2 games ago when he made his appearance because he came in off the bench, Mike, replacing Nick Groves, who made an insane catch in center field, but then was just a little shaken up, so we had to remove him from the game. I said, what was your reaction when you got the call? His coach said, hey, your turn to shine. He said, yeah, I got here yesterday, so I expected today to just be on the bench, kind of get acclimated. When I heard my name called, I got excited. I wanted to go out there. The best way to get acclimated is to compete. He did that, got 2 hits in that game. So some bags, was producing last night as well. So a good pick over there, Payton. I think he can go out and produce again tonight. Mike, you toss it over to the other side of the panel. Who do you got for me tonight?
You know, after the game last night, went and got me some ice cream at Katie's Ice Cream here in Hyannis. Shout out Katie's. Good ice cream over there. Saw a man named Jackson West getting himself some ice cream.
What was the order?
He went with a large cotton candy ice cream with a sugar cone, I believe, and it looked pretty good. But he seemed to be in a good mood, seemed to be happy. Team came away with a loss, but he seemed in a good mood, seemed jolly, got his ice cream, seemed like a happy guy. I think he's going to be locked in tonight. I think he's coming off the high of that cotton candy ice cream. And, he's caught both games in the last 2 games, so maybe he doesn't get the start. I'm still going to go with him. I think that cotton candy ice cream is really calling my name right now, calling his name as well. But off day tomorrow. Hopefully he can get the start. Maybe he DHs tonight. Who knows? I think he'll have a big game if he gets in there, and maybe that cotton candy will give him a little bit extra strength, get him that bat speed he needs. And the left-handed bat against the right-handed pitcher, I think, would be a good compliment as well. So call me crazy. Jackson West, player of the game tonight. Book it.
Mike, I think that might have been our most unique player of the game reasoning so far this season, but I love it. Cotton candy, large ice cream the night before a game, recipe for success if you ask me. I might have to start incorporating that in my pregame routine over at Misericordia University in the spring. Roll Cougs, by the way. That being said, I'm gonna kind of copy your reasoning, but really not at all. You mentioned it for a second. You said a left-handed pitcher against a right-handed bat. I'm gonna go down that one. That's gonna be with an outfielder I mentioned earlier, Payton Kelly. Guys, same reasoning when I talked about the starter from Stanford for the Kettleers. Payton Kelly loves a free base. He loves to watch balls in the dirt, watch balls high, in and out. He'll take a base if you give it to him. I think Joey Vogel is going to give him a base on the first at-bat of the game in the bottom of the first inning. I think Payton Kelly is going to look to steal a bag. I think he's going to look to get all around. I think he's going to score once or twice this game, bring in an RBI or 2, and play solid defense as he has all year. Not an official prediction on any of those. Actually, official prediction walk, first at-bat of the bottom of the first inning. Everything else is just conjecture.
I like it. Both of you picking speedy guys. I like it. Josh Tate stealing a lot of bags and using his speed, and Payton Kelly doing the same. I like it tonight. It's been a big part of this Hyannis offense so far, is getting those extra bases when possible, stealing bases, bunting for hits, all that type of stuff has really been a huge part of this offense, and I think it continues tonight. So I like the picks.
Hopefully it does continue tonight. Mike, thanks again for joining me as always. Payton Kelly, thanks for making your debut. How was this episode? How do you feel being on?
Good, a little nervy.
Well, glad you joined us. Thank you so much, fans. Thanks for watching.
Let's see if she watches the show.
Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like. That being said,
Go
Hawks.
She doesn't watch it.